So when I first moved to Portland 9 years ago, all those buildings that you see behind me in the North Pearl district, none of those buildings existed. I want to take a walk through the neighborhood and see what's what. It's pretty wild to look at sites like this. This is just a little staging area for construction, but they're going to build an apartment complex over here. And right there is the Broadway Bridge, was one of the busiest bridges in Portland. And right here next to the train station, they're going to build an apartment complex. These buildings here, they're about 5 years old. As I walk around the corner here, you can see this building here, also less than 5 years old. This whole area over here used to be fields. And this is what we're going to walk through. And as we pass through the trees, you can see big building here, big beautiful building there. So I'm coming up on this beautiful park on the other side of that building that I was just on. There's a nice children's playground here. And then there's this big open green field. It's a gorgeous field, and me and my friends will come here for picnics. They let their kids run around. But with all of the activity and all of the construction that I'm going to talk more about, we get stuff like this. The lawn here is just totally trashed, completely ruined. And this area is cordoned off, but if you walk around here, it's not just the cordoned off area. We've got huge patches of grass missing all over the field. Here, whoops, here, all over the place. This place is just totally trashed, and it's not really fit for people playing on anymore. You can see the construction crane behind me, and all of that used to be either just warehouses or fields. And as I scan behind me, you can see more tall buildings. This building here just goes on and on and on. And I'm not against construction. I'm not against improving a city. I know that cities change and grow, but when you get stuff like this where the things that are supposed to be nice, like this field, are totally destroyed, and you get situations where you can't hear it right now, but just a little bit ago there was booming. It's because the big construction zones, like this one over here where there's the crane, they're drilling holes or pounding holes into the ground so they can put down foundations. And there's supposed to be a city noise ordinance that prevents companies from pounding super early in the morning. But they've been ignoring that ordinance for years, and my friend Gwen, who's an artist, who used to live here in this part of town, actually moved away from the city because she spent a good 6 months of her life fighting with the city, trying to get the city to enforce the noise ordinances, and they wouldn't do it. And the other day I was out here at the park for an early morning run, and I stopped and talked to a couple people, and they said the pounding is still going on. It's been almost a year since Gwen left. So these little things about cities changing, that, you know, the cities change, but if the city can't enforce its own rules, it makes living there really frustrating. There are some features in this neighborhood that are pretty darn cool. Tanner Springs Park is a little nature conservancy. You can see the little info chart there. But this is a neat little marshland area right in the heart of the North Pearl district. But the funny / frustrating thing about this neighborhood is, even though we have this beautiful nature conservancy and all these beautiful apartments and stuff, like, look at this building behind me. It's this huge, beautiful, tall building, but everything here is luxury housing. It's all luxury apartments. It's luxury apartments or senior living facilities, and there's very little low-income housing. In an ideally planned city, you would have a mix of low-income housing together with luxury apartments. But for whatever reason, with the state ordinances and the city ordinances, the city doesn't actually have the power to enforce low-income housing. The builders can get a credit for building low-income housing, but then they don't actually have to keep it low-income housing. But a couple of years ago, the city police kicked all of the traveling and homeless folks out of the downtown area because they were doing a PR push for the downtown area. And so they cracked down really hard on enforcement, and a lot of the homeless folks came up here to this area, and they were staying and spending time here in Tanner Springs Park, or over in the other park that I was just at. But then less than a year ago, the businesses here in this area started complaining that the homeless people were driving people away from their business. So the police came in and cracked down enforcement here again too, and kicked all the homeless folks out. And so this is part of the ongoing problem we have in Portland as the city grows, and there's no low-income housing near the downtown core, and very little housing at all. Portland has the lowest vacancy rate in the country. We continue building luxury housing. For me, that's what it really comes down to, is do these developers and architects and other folks who are building these buildings, do they care about Portland? And I think the answer for the most part is no. You know, buildings are expensive and people want to build them as cheaply as possible, which makes complete sense. But the North Pearl district doesn't look anything at all like the rest of Portland. It looks like an artificially created neighborhood, I guess, that just doesn't match the rest of the city. And this is why people in Portland are so upset, because the city's not developing in a way that the people of Portland want. It's the very wealthy developers and businesses that are coming in here and sort of imposing their will on the city.